Hello, good evening. This is Vicky Omifalaji. There's a little bit of a change. Usually, I have a group of panelists that I've got that do come in, and we talk about the Nigeria we want. So now we are on E360 TV, which is how you're able to see us today and watch us live on Facebook and on YouTube. So my panelists today will be coming in through to E360 studio. So I'm quite excited about that. So the Sunday show has been changed to the Nigeria We Want every Tuesday evening in Australia's Eastern Standard Time or Daylight Time. We will be coming together at 11 to talk and discuss about the Nigeria we want. So I currently have one of the panelists waiting in the waiting room, and the others will be joining us shortly. So I just would like to get the one waiting into the studio. All right. Mr. Wale Olaitan, you're welcome.
Again, thanks for having me.
So I believe this is your third, is it third or fourth?
This is my fourth appearance.
Thank you so much for coming, and you being the one adding value to this by sharing some statistics on different areas that we need to actually see what's going on there, because focus has been away from all that. When you know your numbers, I actually listened to one man, an influencer, is an influencer, is actually called the Black Godfather.
Okay.
This man talked about you need to know your numbers. If you want to be successful, you need to know your numbers. You need to understand it. You need to know it. When you know it, it makes life easier for you because you now need to know what you need to improve on, what you need to do more of, what you need to do less of. Know your numbers. So when you share those statistics, about the GDP and all those things, I believe it's something that the government needs to open their eyes to and see if they are responsible anyway and see what they need to do. So I want to say a very big thank you to you for joining this panel of great minds coming together to talk. Last week when we finished the show, there was one comment that I read on our on our show that the person was asking, and it sounded, the person was criticizing us discussing. Have you searched
I saw the comments.
I don't waste my time on negativity. Anyone that exudes negativity or, you could see the undertone of criticism there. I just don't waste my time. The person was asking the question or kind of like criticizing us. Where will all this discussion take you? Kind of something like that. And
I saw it as well.
I just didn't respond, and I don't waste my time responding to such people because it drains you of positive energy. What would you say to such person, or such people? Because there are a lot of them out there.
There are a lot of them out there. When I saw it, my reaction was the question to me was very rhetorical. It was a rhetorical question to ask, the panel members or the host of the show, what do you really intend to achieve by having this discussion, at least in the past, for about 4 weeks or more at that time. So my thinking was probably that person has not even taken a time to go through,
Exactly.
to look at the previous episodes To see the level of discussion in the previous episode, to see the balanced presentation of views across the board on so many areas about the need for Nigeria, the need for us to have a new Nigeria. Um, I was thinking if that person has taken a time to go through previous episodes, I would think that obviously she wouldn't have asked that question because to me,
Mm.
what we've discussed in the last 4 weeks should be enough to really convince her that, you know, it's a discussion that we need to have as a nation if we
Mm.
definitely if we need to move forward.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So for those that are out there that may be watching right now or will be watching the replay later on, it is something that they need to understand. I just want us all to actually talk about this because
okay,
um, there will be other people asking the same question. And I've been in the situation before that I was asking same question. I used to get angry that you guys, all you do is talk, 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 no action. But I want to bring the others in to actually let us answer the question.
yeah,
Okay. Thank you for sharing your mind on that. I've
yeah.
got Shola Olushola here. Is from New York. All right, my dear
Hello.
brother. Hello, welcome. Thanks for
Hi,
joining us.
Yemi. Thank you.
So this is Shola Olushola. Is a political what would I call you
Analyst.
actually? I'll get you actually to tell us about you. You are the new panelist joining us. We've been doing this for the last uh, almost 6 weeks or 7 weeks now. So this is Mr. Wale Olaitan. He's a political analyst. Is a criminal justice practitioner and is an author. So is based here in Melbourne, Australia. So you are Shola Olushola, and I know you're an author. I know you are a political activist. Tell us about you, please.
All right. Just like what she said, my name is Shola Olushola. I did studied engineering in school. Right now I do IT, I do real estate, and I'm also an author. And I'm more interested, in having a world where everybody, can dream and everybody can, achieve their goals. A world where nobody is restricted, probably because of your background or your skin color or where you've been in life.
Mhm.
That's it basically for me.
All right. And
Yeah,
I see that you have so much passion
Yeah.
for Nigeria. You talk a lot about Nigerian issues. You talk about stuff to do with Nigeria. And that was why I thought you need to be part of this great minds coming together to
Mm,
discuss what is going on with Nigeria, in Nigeria, and the way forward.
yeah.
Um, there was a question that I posted to Mr. Wale Olaitan before. Last week when we finished the show, actually there was a comment, on that platform. Somebody saying, you know, with that on the tone of criticism, that what is all this talk? Where is it going to lead you? I mean, what is that going to do? That kind of question.
Okay.
And as I was saying to Mr. Wale Olaitan before, I'm the type that I don't respond to such negative comments. I don't give time to it. And I believe that when you start trying to explain to that person, it leads to another, it leads to another. And they already have their minds made up that there's nothing we can do about Nigerian situation. And so no matter what you say, they just don't get it. So I would like us to spend some few minutes actually um, given, the reason why we need to keep having this kind of discussions. To such people to understand what it's all about, for such people and other people like that person to actually understand that without this discussion, we are going nowhere. So I will actually get you to talk to us about what your thoughts are. I'm not sure if you've checked the previous episodes that we had. Um, we It's been 7 weeks now that we've been doing this consistently, and we have young men, young guys from Nigeria that join us. We have Yemi Shodimu from Nigeria that joins us, and we there's a journalist in Ohio who also joins us. And we just, we talk, it can be odd sometimes. We just come up with all different ideas to move us forward. So, what would you say to such a question? Hi, Prosper. Thank you for joining us today.
Hello, Vicky. Thank you for having
How
me.
are you?
Sorry I'm late. Great. Today
So
is a
that,
good
Hello.
day. Hello, Mr. Wale. How are you?
Hello. Yeah, good.
Prosper, this is Mr. Oluji.
Hi,
Is
Prosper.
the,
Yeah.
yeah, so that is
Hello,
Prosper.
Mr. Olushola.
Prosper, I believe, is in Port Harcourt.
From
Is
Port Harcourt, Port Harcourt,
yeah,
Nigeria.
there's a political um, what do I
I'm
call
a
it?
district marketer.
A
I'm a district
political
marketer.
activist, I believe. So now there's a question that I've actually just asked. Not from me. Somebody, one of our audiences last week asked a question with an undertone of criticism. Where will all this talk lead to? I mean, what is all this talk doing? It's doing nothing, kind of. So I just want us to educate. I want educate is a point. I want us to use this opportunity to actually educate such people like that person and people like her. That why do you think this is necessary? What we're doing right now, talking about the kind of Nigeria that we want.
Okay, let me quickly say something. Um, I also have a master's degree in marketing. One of the
Mm,
things that marketing does is a marketer continues to ring a bell for a particular product, continues to ring the bell every day. The first day doesn't make any sense to you. The second day doesn't make any sense to you. A week later, it becomes a nuisance. By the third week, the message is registered in your mind. By the fourth week, the message becomes a part of you. Now, this is what this kind of discussion does. People keep talking about it. People keep talking about the issue. After a while, it get registered in people's mind, and people act based on the information they get. If you look around you, one of the things that make one politician different from the other is the rhetoric of what they tell people. When the rhetoric
exactly.
is registered in people's mind, they have a huge followers. In fact, they become like an idol to some people because they keep saying the same thing. Even sometimes it might be a lie, but because they keep saying it over and over again. So it's the same thing here. The more you hear about it, the more you are motivated to act in a positive way. So it's
Thank
not
you.
enough to, yeah, I have seen people say, oh, armchair criticism, armchair critics and all that. If you look at the last NSAS protest in Nigeria, it started with a discussion on social media. If you look at in 2014,
Mm,
the the Chibok girls, it started on social media and it grew to the world. So it's the same way with such discussion. I don't know. I really wish to know who the person is, but it's the way to start the discussion, and then to get people motivated, and then to get people, do what they were supposed to do.
as you were talking about marketing and and all things right to do with marketing, now you get the fact that people, when you turn your TV on, the same thing,
Hmm.
you hear about that same thing again. They're
Yeah.
talking about Colgate toothpaste, right? And you turn on your TV every 20 minutes. There's an advert about Colgate. You know, the next time there's an advert about Colgate. You go
Mm-hmm.
to the shop 2 days later. When you're about to pick a toothpaste, it's Colgate, because when you're not actually thinking, or you're not actually so thinking about it, but it sticks.
It sticks,
That's
yeah.
the thing. And you know what? As per what's been going on in the United States with your president, Mr. Oluji, you can see that it works.
Yeah, it does work. Yeah.
It works.
Yeah.
It works. And as you were talking about it, I remembered one man, Dr. Bob Holt, that I interviewed about 3, 4 weeks ago. And when he came onto the show, he talked about logical fallacies. He talked about rhetorical devices.
Yeah.
All right. He talked about psychological tricks.
Yeah.
Though we are doing around the same thing as your man in United States, the orange man, right? But we are doing it, and we are doing it for good, because we are coming together and we are putting it together to say, okay, what else and how can we do this? So
Yeah.
Mm.
yes, Mr. Wale, yes.
Yeah, so just welcome my brother from the States, Mr. Olushola, to the program. This is my fourth appearance on the program,
Thank
and
you.
I've really enjoyed the level of exchange of ideas,
Mm.
across the board. Because in terms of the composition, I think it's a well balanced composition. So we have some of our panel members that are based in Nigeria that can provide the local content in terms of
Mm,
what is really going on there. At least they are, even though we also have a lot access to a lot of information in this era of 24/7 news networks and social media. But it's also good to hear directly from people that are based there. And also, to me, there's also a kind of generational perspective. So I went to university in the early 90s, and then so went through that era of the military junta in government, and to the election of Abiola and the rest. And so based on that, it's also good to really listen to you know Prosper, and a few younger ones that are able to provide that, real information in terms of their generation, the way they see things. So, in terms of that person with that negative comment, to me, it's more about a mindset, and it's a mindset that is somehow typical of some of our people. It's a mindset that has, to a large degree, put us in a situation where we are today, where people just they become used to the status quo, and they believe that nothing can really be done to change that status quo. And then, unfortunately, where they see people coming up with ideas and even trying to discuss the status quo and the need for us to change that narrative, is it is not uncommon for them to come from that negative mindset of, we've been talking for God knows when. What do you really want to make out of this? Um, but I think that, from day one, the discussion has not been like an academic discussion. The discussion has been, I guess, robust, and the discussion has been, um, like solution focused. Where do we go from here? We all know what the problems are, but we can all see from here till 2023, we can be talking about the same problems. Where do we go from here? And that has been the approach. So to people like her and other people out there that they think, what are we doing this for? My encouragement is just that they should just take about 10 or 15 minutes out of their time to listen to, probably after today's uh, program, to go through, for them to listen to and see whether what is making any sensible points, or maybe we're just talking rubbish. and then they can make up their minds whether there's a need for them to continue to either pay more attention to what we talk about, or and also to see whatever way or form that they can support what we do.
You are muted, Vicky.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay. Thank you, Wale Olaitan, for that. Now, can I get Prosper to actually give us some update as to what's been happening since the last time he was on? Prosper, are you able to unmute?
Yes, I can. I can hear you loud and clear.
Oh, fantastic. So can you please give us some updates? I'd love to now with the way media has been, whether television stations, news stations, and all of that, there's sometimes you can't actually trust what comes out from there. And I think it's been planted into us not to trust the media. Isn't that the case?
I think it has been planted in us to not to trust a lot of things that come out on this side of the world, because
Exactly.
the system has a track record of no integrity, no trust, and no value for people. So in return, we have this no challenge to believing what they say. But that's an aside anyway. A lot has been happening so far. Of course, after the whole protest, what we are doing now is to first of all observe the flow of events, because they may stop the protest, but they haven't stopped the revolution. Okay, so for what you said earlier, every single change or every single revolution begins with a conversation. Okay, so we are engaging in those conversations right now. Every single revolution in the world, beginning from even the Arab uprising, the quest for a couple of change in different societies around the world began with somebody speaking. And it began from the speaking, people began to speak, a couple of persons began to discuss, eyes began to open up to see the need. So every time we come around to speak about these things, we are simply following the process for a real change. This is the process. It begins with a conversation. And this is what we're engaged in right now. Okay, so I believe we are on course. I believe we are on the right track. Okay, so back to the question. A lot has happened so far. Last week. I was very engaged. Okay, but within that time and this time, a lot has happened. Of course, the two major things happened within this period. The first one is the CNN reports. Okay, that was the first trigger, to for like a point to us. So the way you score a goal in the match, this is like a goal we have scored. So we have scored the goal using these reports because, of course, worldwide CLL is known for proper journalism, professional top-notch journalism. Okay, so CNN released the reports. Their own side of the story, their investigative report about the whole shooting happened the 20th. Okay, so having released it, of course, with the usual drama that will play in the corporate circle, so people will begin to to downplay the whole CNN reports. Of course, we heard the Minister of Information, Lai Mohammed, coming on air to say that the report is fake news, and the report is not professional for a professional body. All those rhetorics and dramas that happens. So it just shows the caliber of people we have over there. It shows the level of the myopic nature of their thinking. If you can downplay the intelligence of global voices, then it shows that you are not thinking well. It shows that your view is microscopic in its nature. It shows that you don't value your people. You are not trying. They are not even trying to fix the problem. That's the most surprising part. they are not trying to fix the problem. They're just bringing up different stories to just cover up for the mess that they have put themselves into. Okay. So, of course, before I entered the show, I saw the second part of the report. Say they released another part of the report. Just, I think today, I was watching before I joined the show, and it's just too cool because every single, from the very first time, from the 20th, we have been hearing different narratives. Abby says they were not there in the first place, it's fake news. All of a sudden, they said they were there, they were invited by the governor, or they said no, they didn't go with live ammunitions. Now they have okay, they are with ammunitions, but they shot the blank, and a lot of different stories. So you see that there's no consistency in their stories. So when say they came to just score a major point, to just expose the flaws in their conversation. Okay, so that's why you keep hearing the live Mohammed and the government trying to just do the whole thing. No, it is shameful that they are yet to understand the power of technology. Obviously, the technology will always expose you. They are yet to understand the power of social media. They don't understand that technology is a god itself. Okay, so that is for the report. Okay, then of course, what happened last night here in Nigeria? The British Parliament debating on possible sanctions for a couple of government officials. This is another score for the Nigerian people. Like I said, it's like football. We are scoring points at every point in time. Okay, so I watched a couple of the clips yesterday. The deliberation to sanction a couple of Nigerian officials.
Couple.
Also, there's a couple of them. Those that will be found once the whole event that played out. A couple of them different as much as they can investigate. So they are advocating for independent investigation, knowing fully well that the Nigerian system does not have the integrity to carry out such level of
Investigation, yes.
investigation because
Mm.
itself is already compromised. So we cannot trust them to deliver. This judiciary they are talking about, a lot of us don't trust. It's just one of those things that just used to just buy time and just buy space or buy time to do something different. So after we've had a lot of judicial panels that nothing happened up to date from 1999. I can remember the Oputa panel up to date. We are still discussing that hour. So we don't. That's a lot of us don't trust this whole panel system. It's just one of those government system to just delay. Okay, so that's why the British Parliament is trying to say let there be a proper independent investigative panel to really look into these things. And those persons found wanting should go in for it. Okay, if the government had listened, if the government had probably after the shooting, they went to called a couple of persons or sanctioned or sacked a couple of persons, we will not get to this point. But they are just trying to cover up for every single best thing. So at the end of the day, they are going to lose on the long run because, of course, obviously, Joe Biden has won. Joe Biden was one of the person that led voices to the protesters. We're expecting him once he assumes office, he will take up from steps. That's another score that we're expecting on our side. Okay, so when the U.S. government takes a couple of steps, other persons will take some steps to look into what happened. So this is a marathon, like we said, it's a long process, but we are willing and we are patient enough to see to the end that justice is served for those persons that lost their lives, and most importantly, our voices are heard across board. This is the focus. We are not losing focus. The battle has moved beyond the streets of Lagos or beyond the street of Port Harcourt. We are winning through our voices, we are winning through conversations, we are winning through strategic thinking, we are winning through collaborations. We may not be on the streets to carry placards, but trust me, our voices are spreading every single day. There's a point to want, there's always something to hope for. So far, these are the major points that this is the major event that took place within the last few weeks.
Thank you so much, Prosper. That was really good. Thank you for updating us. Now, Mr. Olaitan, any updates from your end that you like to add to that? Unmute.
Sorry. So apart from the CNS report, I think one of the most important events in the last 7 days, I think one, there was this the level of vindictiveness on the part of the government. There was this guy that was the 27-year-old Eromosele Adene, if I really get that name right, that was arrested, I think, on 7th of November. And then the government, pretty much they were trying just to lock him up again for another 30 days when he appeared in court last week, and eventually the court granted him bail. But despite that, the government, they were not really ready to release him. I think he spent a couple of days in police custody after the court has granted him bail before he was, finally released. So that showed the level of vindictiveness, and most importantly, from Prosper's comment, that they've not learned anything from what really happened in terms of the youngsters and the protest, rather than embracing that opportunity to really address the issues that led to the protest, which you would think the political class, they should have seen that as they've been sitting on this ticking time bomb for so many years. And what they just witnessed in October was a tip of the iceberg, but they've not really embraced the opportunity to really seriously have serious conversations and to really, as a government, respond to some of the key issues, that led to that event. They've been busy chasing shadows, which is quite unfortunate. Another take home for me from, the last 7 days, that there was this recent meeting that was, scheduled at the African Shrine, by by Sheon Kuti and some other pro-democratic groups and human rights groups. Based on what I read about the purpose of the meeting, it was meant to be, an opportunity to go through the NSAS movement of me protest, so just a kind of experience sharing kind of gathering for them to see lessons learned, and I think for more strategic planning and collaboration among key players. But how do the government respond? They responded by barricading any any form of entrance to the African shrine. That is how they. So to me, just like a deja vu, sort of like going back to that military era, where that level of totalitarianism and just that is exactly what we are witnessing, unfortunately, in a democratic setting. So that for me, that's one of the major disappointment of what has happened since. Aside from the CNN report, which Prosper covered very well, so I don't want to repeat what he has said in that sense. But I think another most important thing, the very disappointing one and a very dangerous trend, is the one that happened at the African Shrine, where the police pretty much barricaded the place. They had to move to a different venue to do that program. So we should be very vigilant.
All right. So with the CNN doing, covering this, because I understand that most of the Nigerian television stations actually couldn't cover, the protest or do much about reporting it. So even the massacre, most of the Nigerian TV stations couldn't cover it. Isn't that the case?
Yes. A couple of uh, I told you earlier that when the protest started, a lot of the media houses got a memo from the NBC that they should be mindful of any reports that will tarnish the reputation of the federal government. That was the memo they got. So at every point, they were being careful of what they say or what they do concerning the protest. So a lot of times we had less media presence at the protest site, less interviews, not so much. For instance, when it's election time, for instance, we see the media at its best. They are talking about the elections, they are talking about this candidate, this party, and all that. Okay, but this time we saw less of activities. probably they were very, very careful about what they say. Okay, of course, after everything, we saw the NBC's hammer on a couple of media houses where they were fined about 3 million, okay, for wrong reporting in quotes. Okay, so these are the issues that we had or that they have. Okay, so at the end of the day, see, the government thinks that CNN is like AIT or NTA, where you can simply issue threats or you want to sanction them or you want to ban them. I think they are yet to understand the world is different. The world is a different place. Okay, CNN single-handedly fought Donald Trump. Donald Trump did not consider any sanction, he didn't do anything. So how can you, federal government of Nigeria, want to sanction CNN? I think you are yet to really
Have they
understand.
sanctioned them?
No, it's just usual threats. Just usual threats that they threaten. So empty threats.
Empty barrel.
Right, we are waiting for Adamu Gaba to, as usual, issue court proceeding against CNN as usual. These are the drama we see every day. People who are not sincere, they're not trying to solve the problems. They're just trying to just play around, just to create some activities. We are waiting.
So thanks, Professor Mr. Shola Olusola. We can't see your face properly. Okay, yes. So we are doing updates, and that's one of the things that we do here. We talk about what's been going on, and just to get. We might have read something, we might have heard something, but we want this place to be a place where when we say something, it's not one of those conspiracy theory or lies or whatever. It has to be, the right words, the right incident that happened, or things that we know it's real, authentic. So I know you are quite in depth into Nigerian dramas. So anything you would like to add to what Wale and Prosper shared with us?
Well, it's it's interesting that government never learn, and it's interesting that there's no deliberate effort to make any positive change. It's just like it's the way it is who we are, and then it's unfortunate that most Nigerians are used to the system of the impunity. People don't even see it as being wrong. I've seen people defend government action in Lekki. I've seen people defended government action in Port Harcourt, Igbo. I've seen people, defended the government in various ways. I just hope and pray that with the latest or the last Lekki protest is the beginning of the change, and then I also expect as soon as the new government here comes in play in January, we are hoping to submit a petition on what happened in Lekki to the Congress, and then we hope and look forward to a debate on Nigeria, and then probably another set of sanctions on on the key players, the military, top hierarchy, the government, even the governors that invited the military, and all the people that have lied. A sanction from here as well, and I also expect a sanction from UK before the end of this year. So, like my people used to say, Dada cannot fight, but Dada has people that Dada trusts that can fight for him. So that's what we're looking at. We have to look up to the British again, our colonial masters, to come and save us from our government of oppressors. Quite sad that in 2020 we have to go back to the colonial master for us to get justice as citizens. It's really sad and disheartening. But I'm hopeful, and then I look for, like Prosper said, we look forward to a lot of goals as soon as the new government comes in play in January. Petition will be submitted, evidences will be submitted, and then there is also hope to bring in eyewitness from Nigeria to give their own account at the Congress. Let's just something good is going to happen this time around. It's not going to be the usual sit down and look and and only hope. There's action this time.
So Britain is coming on board to help. It's quite sad, like you said, that we have no choice than to go to them to say, please help us, right? To save us from the people that are supposed to be caring and be looking after us. Or what can we do? So if America come on board, and probably Canada also, we need to look at Germany, because that's another place to go to. So if they have nowhere to run to, they have no choice but to sit down and try to work out what's going on. How can they fix the health system? How can they fix education system? All their children to be sent back to Nigeria. We don't want you anymore if you can't take care of your home. Whatever we have to do, we have to do it. It's just not right. Now, so thank you guys in Australia, I mean in America, for what you are doing to get things together and present it to this incoming new government that you guys will be having in January. Thank you guys for that. Now, the ones in Britain, they are doing the same thing. If they now choose to come to Australia, are we ready, my dear brother?
I hope so.
So I think we're ready. Even with the during the about 3 or 4 weeks ago, there was a protest. Even Melbourne, we were on lockdown, but our brothers and sisters in Canberra, they went to the Nigeria High Commission in Canberra, and it was a very loud protest. I saw the video. They made their points emphatically. A good representation about the need for us as a people, that we've been so quiet and we've been so pushed around for so long. And it's time for us to demand exactly what sort of a nation do we have. Even many of us that we've been able to escape the social and economic hardship, by living in diaspora, but we still have this burden in terms of a lot of socio-economic issues back home, that the unsustainable level of reliance in terms of the kind of social welfare, if I may put it that way, that we provide to support family and friends back home. I think it's is a lot, and that's one of the reasons why we need to use whatever we have to to agitate for a change of the direction of the government. And frankly, they've responded in the past. We just have to go back to just history, and I'm not talking about a very long history. The transition to democratic rule in 1999, it wouldn't have happened. The military boys were not really ready. But towards that late 90s, they knew, and with the demise of Abiola, in detention and all that, they knew that the international community was speaking with one voice. The British, the American, the great democratic nations in Europe, they were demanding that the need for Nigeria to return to democratic rule, and with a lot of sanctions in place, they had no choice other than to return us to democratic rule. I think that this is another opportunity, and for us as a people, to use what we've got in terms of, I think, amongst other things, that unfortunately, that external sanctions has worked in the past, because they usually hit them hard where it's really hot. And I think in a way it's going to work this time around, if you're able to really strategically implement whatever plans we have in terms of getting them to be answerable for the atrocities they've committed on Nigerian people.
Yeah.
Now, we will keep doing what we have to do. Fantastic. The question, or the point that I always like us to come back to when we do updates and everything else, I also want us to talk about the Nigeria we want. So I'll start from you, Shola Shola. If I asked you right now to close your eyes and describe to us the kind of Nigeria you want, what will it be? And I'm asking this last weekend. Oh, was it last weekend now? Yeah, it was last weekend actually. That I had a conference, TGA conference, and we talked about vision. Vision makes everything possible. Whatever we do starts from you to be, being able to see the picture of what it's going to look like, what it's going to be like. Even think about the chair that you're sitting on. Someone had a vision of, if I make it this way and I do it this way, someone can sit on it and actually lean onto the back and the person can relax. It started from vision. It started from being able to see what it's going to be like, what it's going to look like. Our leaders in Nigeria appears they have eyes, but they cannot see. They haven't been able to see for so long that they have no plan, they have no goal, they have no mission, they have no vision. For them to be able to say, okay, this is what we have right now. In the next 2 years, this is what we want to see happening. Because if they have vision, things will not be the way it is right now. So I want to actually, put some light onto this. Each and every one of us, we are talking about this, we're discussing this. Well, let's talk about the Nigeria that we want. In terms of, okay, now this is it, this is actually how I would like it to be. Let's visualize it. When you are able to have the vision, you are opening door for hope. Hopelessness disappears because you see it, then you want to do whatever you can to make it happen. I will start with you, Shola. Describe to us the kind of Nigeria that you want.
Okay, it's simple. A Nigeria where there's equality, where there's social justice, where everybody can dream, and then be what they want to be, achieve their goal without knowing anyone, without being connected to the high and mighty, without having a dramatic background. A Nigeria whereby someone can wake up in Obigbo and dream of becoming so wealthy or so rich in Abuja by doing doing the right things, by believing that through hard work you could achieve what you want to achieve. I mean, most people left Nigeria because they have a dream. So why shouldn't we have a Nigerian dream? They talk about the American dreams. So why don't we have the Nigerian dream? A dream whereby Dauda can wake up in Mushin, and in the next 10 years, Dada is living in Ikoyi or is living in Lekki. So that's the kind of Nigeria I want, where everybody have opportunity to be what they want to be without, knowing anyone.
And do you believe that is possible?
Yeah, of course, it's possible, but it will only be possible if we have the right set of people in places of leadership, from government to all institutions, even to people themselves, because we are a reflection of the government we have. If people do what they were supposed to do, we won't have the wrong government. If we have the right government, we'll have the right system. For now, the system is the way it is because all of us, when I say all of us, I mean the people, do not play their role. People don't come out to vote for me. I mean, imagine it is only about 18% of registered voters that determine who rules in Nigeria, which is shameful. People don't come out to exercise their civic rights. So that's where it starts from. Look at what happened 3 weeks ago here. Over 150 million people came to vote because they wanted change. People wanted change. People want something new. People were tired of the old order. So they came out, and then, you saw it in the results. Just imagine, you close your eyes and dream if people had not come out to vote for for Joe Biden, if people have thought, okay, we have enough people to vote, you just imagine who would have won the election. So that's where it starts from. People coming out to exercise their civic right and voting for the right people. They can't stop everybody from voting. Yes, they will try and stop some people. They did that here as well. But if a whole lot of people comes out, it will reflect on the result. We should trust the system, and then we should act on our own trust.
In Australia, and I know Wale can back me up on this. If you don't vote, you know what's gonna happen? Because I was,
Yeah.
not once, not twice, three times actually. I had to pay.
Okay.
The first time, I think it was around
Yeah.
$70. The second time, it was $100. The third time, it was close to $200 because I didn't
Yes.
vote. When they gave you, when you receive your Australian citizenship, it's part of what you sign up for, that you will participate when it comes time to vote. And we have all these different, we just voted kind
For
of
the
like,
council, yeah, just 2 weeks ago for the councillorship.
so the council
So for
got,
the council, so we all through to
yeah.
the federal level is
Mm,
compulsory to vote. It's one of the few democracies in the world that voting is actually compulsory. It's not as if you don't want to rock up to the, if you don't want to rock up, you get $200 fine or what have you.
mm,
It's as simple it's as simple as that. So I think that's enough for us to be actively involved in the democratic process and to be able to pay attention to all the different candidates, what they've got to say. Even in the last election, in a lot of, despite the COVID, a lot of, you know, information material and poster boxes everywhere, posters. At least you can know the candidates and what do they really want to what they want to offer. In terms of your response to your question about the kind of Nigeria I want, I think like many of us there, like I've been able to live in a different system. I can make that comparison. And apart from living in Australia, I've traveled a bit to a few other countries as well, so I can make that comparison. And that has even made it more stronger for me in terms of, I won't say anger, in terms of the need for us to get it right as a people. And I think in
mm,
my first few years, I went through a lot of emotional responses, from feeling so happy about getting to a new land and starting all over again, and then to that level of, I guess, resentment towards our leaders, that they've messed up the old system that's made, brilliant minds, to really, I guess, escape, if I may put it that word, from that Nigeria. And you see a lot of them doing very well. So the Nigeria I want is, it's not like, over the top. I'm a part of, I'm from a town called Adodo in Ogun State. Probably many of you, you've not heard of that, the name of that place. That's my hometown. And I went to UMC Primary School, which is a local public primary school. I had my education at the local secondary school in that same town. And then I went to Federal University of Agric, Abeokuta, which is now, well, it used to be UNAB when I went there, but now they call it Federal University. But anyway, it has always been a federal university even when I went there. Um, so the Nigeria I want is that people should have access to education, regardless of, you know, where your family background or what have you. Because now what do you see? It's all mushroom private schools everywhere. You know, people cannot afford to even send their kids to public schools because they're all dilapidated buildings and nothing there. So if I look back and say I look at my background, and if I take away that opportunity for that private, public school that I went to throughout my, education there. I don't know, maybe my narrative of my life journey could have been much different to what it is now. So on that
mm,
personal level, I believe that there's a need for us to get it right. Let people, regardless of their socioeconomic background. Let them have access to education and good education. We are not asking for too much to ask for that. We're not asking for too much for government to have programs to address unemployment and to provide social security for people that are doing it tough, either after uni trying to move to the labor market and to try get into employment. And I know even in the most advanced societies, everyone, you don't have to have a degree or get a PhD. There should be vocational pathways and opportunities for people to thrive in whatever they fit in. If they are more the techie savvy kind of guy, let them use their brain for to pursue that. And in some cases, you don't have to have big degrees, as I've witnessed in this part of the world, to really do that. To really be a very good engineer, to really good a good IT person. Um, People should be able to have opportunities. We should be able to live in a secure society whereby we don't have kidnappers running around and kidnapping people, and we have terrorist group Boko Haram killing people you know, for many years now. So these are the things that we're asking for, and they are not, and that absence of leadership, and or any, in fact, maybe when you say visionary leadership, with even with taking it too much, there is just lack of anything. There is no exemplary, nothing, no form of leadership. Um, as we are now today, my state government released the budget. The estimated 350 billion Australian dollar. That is a state budget. That was released today, and the focus
Wow.
of the focus of the budget is to get the state back on track post COVID-19. So the thinking is not about to create more jobs, to create more infrastructure and construction jobs, to small businesses, to support them, because small businesses, they employ a lot of people, from the local guy at the local cafe making coffee or selling biscuit or what have you, to IT guy across the shop, to the lady running like a gym and dancing class. They all, um, there's enough in the budget to take care of everyone, but the main objective is to get the economy moving post in COVID-19. So what do we have? What are they talking about in Nigeria presently in terms of what we've just experienced with COVID-19? I'm not hearing anything in terms of their plans in terms of moving forward post COVID-19. They are just focused on NSACs and arresting people and freezing accounts of protesters. So that is their own focus, and that explains why we must continue with this conversation about the need for us to have a new Nigeria.
I'll Prosper too. Thanks, Mr. Wale. Now, Prosper, you are the young ones. You are the young one amongst us here. What's the kind of Nigeria that you dream of having? We failed you guys because maybe we should have shouted more when we were your age, we should have done more. Yeah, what kind of dream, vision do you have that you would like to see Nigeria be?
Okay. I'll try not to be so emotional about this question. But then I think our reality currently is being compromised by a lot of factors. A lot of factors. But then every civilization should be able to birth new dreams and new visions. Okay. The beauty of civilization is that it creates the room for you to birth new things. And when you birth new things, those new things ought to thrive. Okay. So where you are in a civilization where your dreams and your visions are choked up, and it becomes very difficult to really express yourself and express what you want to achieve, then it becomes a threat to your essence and your livelihood. It becomes a threat to who you represent and what you hope to achieve at the end of the day. Okay, so my idea of a working society is a system that has the natural habitual components to help you thrive, even if it's as little as not trying to trivialize anybody's occupation, but even if you're what we call shoemaker in Nigeria, even if you are a cobbler, you should to become the best in your field without any local government boys harassing you for taxation or for environmental fee or for sanitation fee or something. You know, even if it's as little as pure water, you're selling pure water, you should do it with pride and respect. Let everybody's voice count. This is the kind of society we always want, where your voice is heard. If I'm like, of course, where you are, for instance, if you're having a disclosure, you can simply write a letter to the president or write a letter to the governor or to your local government president, and they're going to respond to you. Okay, but all of a sudden, right here, you write a letter. You cannot write a letter first, but nobody's going to read your letter in the first place. Secondly, you have to know somebody that knows somebody that can access local government chairman for your voice to be heard. And of course, having been heard is not a guarantee that what you're requesting for will be done. Okay, so I think I believe there is hope, and this is what we are working towards. Okay, the household villa clinic, for instance, there's always a yearly budget for the household villa clinic, but we have come to realize that the clinic has not been used for many years, and there's always a budget. So every single time we have the president flying outside, or people in the household villa flying outside for medical treatment. Why? Because even the household villa clinic, the clinic that's supposed to be the best, if possible, the best in Nigeria, is still not working. That shows you the priority of those persons who are up there. They are not planning to make anything work. If you cannot treat or keep your clinic in your house, just like your kitchen, for instance, at least kitchen you have food and all that. If you cannot keep your clinic, the household villa to work, then be rest assured, nothing, no hospital in Nigeria is going to work. Nothing. I'll look for a Nigeria where we are not going to be of ASU strike. ASU is this, ASU is that. I went to River State University. When I was there, that was the one of the very few universities in Nigeria where there was no ASU. I think that the government found a way to really ban the activities of ASU in the state university. So for the straight 5 days course, there was no strike. We had a very smooth lecture system. We have a very smooth calendar. Okay, of course, your mate, the other schools are going to strike you are assured that you're on time with your. So that's the society where your dreams are not choked up by strike or by taxation or by system that is not working or by loopholes. Okay, a system that keeps your dreams alive. I say it every time. If Mark Zuckerberg was in Nigeria, Facebook will never ever see the light of day unless God will have to intervene. But well, we will get there. We will get there.
We will. We will. And that is one of the reasons why I actually wanted us to have that, moment whereby we can dream of the Nigeria we want. We are not praying for dreams now. Let's do the dreaming. And hopefully, one by one step after the other, we will start getting there. Shola made mention of one thing when he was speaking. He talked about government being a reflection of us individually. Before I can get to be, in that place where I start making laws and I start doing this, I start doing that. What am I even doing now? Am I giving bribes? Am I asking for bribe? How am I treating my house help, for instance? How am I treating my house help? Because their parents cannot afford to send them to school. I now said, okay, I will take care of the child. I'll send the child to school, but the child will be helping me. But instead of sending that child to school, what am I doing to that child? Am I treating that child like I treat my own children? Those are the questions I want people to start thinking about. If you can stand there and start complaining about that government, this, that government, that, look within, what are you doing yourself? What are your thoughts about that, my panelists? What are your thoughts?
I think it's a very valid point. It's a very important point to make, in terms of, you know, we are reflection of the people we have in government, and is pretty straightforward, even though in most of the discussions there's a lot of emphasis around, the government and leaders. But at the end of the day, these leaders are not from Jupiter. They are not from a different planet. They are from same, they are the same Nigerians, and it's very difficult, like, to really, for many people to accept that there's that strong connection between the kind of representation we have at different level of government. So it's like looking at ourselves in the mirror, and sometimes when you confronted with what you see in the mirror, there's a lot of denial that goes with that, and I think that's why it's very convenient to point, accusing fingers at the leaders, and in a way disconnecting ourselves from why do we keep on getting the same level of leadership over and over again. I quite agree with that, summation, that we also need to take responsibility for that. If we have leaders that are disconnected from the people, then let's look at ourselves, what's going on there. If you have leaders that have this legendary sense of entitlement, which we see all the time, they are so entitled that you think, where are this guy from? So do we have to look at our fellow system as individual and say, as a people, are we so, as have high level of sense, in a sense of entitlement in whatever we do at work, within our community, and what have you? So there's a very strong argument for that. Um, but on the other side as well, we still need to, in a way, put that blame where it belongs, which is
Exactly.
that in a country of over, current estimate, about 200 million people, we cannot all be in power. We still need to have leaders to represent us, and if they are the chosen one that are elected to represent, why can't they provide good leadership? What I've observed is that is in our part of the world, you see a senator or um, a member of House of Rep, when they get up to make a speech, they go into this lengthy speech, more like just they are just complaining. And many times I've listened to many of them. They might be complaining about security, might be complaining about unemployment, and they will go on for like 10 minutes. And you see that video circulating around, people will be applauding that person for standing up and making that powerful speech. My response is, guy, that is not your role. You are a lawmaker. The reason
Exactly.
why you are in Senate is the problems are there. That's why they sent you there. You need to go through
Just,
that democratic process, come up
mm,
with a bill, use intelligent people around you, come up with a bill, do all the necessary networking with other representatives from other states, and then for them to support the bill. That's the democratic process, to support that bill and be able to get that bill signed into law. That is how people make changes. That is how people make changes in democratic systems. An elected senator will not just get up just for 10 minutes of fame and make this lengthy comment. And most of the time, you see that voice of hopelessness when they talk. And I think no, you're not getting it. Maybe people are getting caught up with that theatrics. But the key issue is that you are not there to just get up and be making some emotional, kind of speech. The purpose of why you're there as a rep member or as a senator is to put up. If you're not happy with some things around unemployment for young people, come up with a very sound and informed and well-educated bill and present. And obviously, for a bill to pass, you need, that bipartisan, you know, um, endorsement. So your role is to, okay, if you are an APC guy, you feel strongly about this issue, talk to your friends in PDP because you might need the number to be able to get that bill passed into law. Talk to them, and in most cases, we might be need to negotiate. They might tell you, okay, if you're able to get that bill, I'm also planning to propose a bill for whatever in my area. Will you be able to support my bill? That is how they do it. But in our case, we don't. We do it differently, and I think people just get up in that theatrics most of the time, and you see that video going viral, and people will be sharing it. But people don't really ask that question. That this is not your role. Your role is pretty much to to make
About
laws.
and here in Australia, when someone in maybe health minister, if she should present something, you have the shadow health minister also saying something, criticizing. So before they come out, they always get their fact right. They always come up with things to say that before they open their mouth, it's not something that the shadow minister will cut into pieces. We don't have that in Nigeria. The oppositions, they really don't have that power. And I believe few things still needs to change. Maybe the two political system is a problem for us. There's something there that needs to change. And I believe we will keep this conversation going. And I actually had a video that I wanted to play, but the time has gone now. But before we round up today, Mr. Olaitan, do you have any of those statistics that you've been sharing with us?
Yes,
Remember,
you gave me specifically to look at around
education.
education. So
Yeah.
what I've done is to look at literacy rates in Nigeria. And
Mm,
I've just done a comparison with South Africa, which I think there's a lot of that competition between Nigeria and South Africa in so many areas. So that's what I've done. So I've looked at literacy level, and I've used that UNESCO and World Bank data to So in terms of that classification, they put it to um, the literacy level, for people from age 15 to 24 years old. In that category, literacy just basically ability to read and write.
mm,
Um, from that statistics, that is the most literate group in Nigeria. The most literate age group is that age 15 to 24 years old. In that category, we have male, 81.6%, they are literate. And we have female in that age group of 15 to 24. We have 68.3, percent. So that is a gap of 13.3% in
between
terms
male
of between male and female in that age bracket of 15 to 24, which is the most um, literate age group in Nigeria.
and
By comparison, in that age group in South Africa, that age 15 to 24, by comparison, we have male 93.8%, and in female we have 96.9%. So the overall literacy level for that group in South Africa is 95.3, and the overall literacy level for age 15 to 24 in Nigeria is 75%. So we move further in that order. For age 15 years and older, so people between 15 years and older, in terms of their statistics, the literacy level there is for male, 71.3%, for female, 52.7%. So there's a gap there as well. So we're looking at people from age 15 and older. The gap there between male and female is 18.6%. By comparison, that age group in South Africa, we have male, 87.7%, female, 86.5%. So again, South Africa, they're doing better, and in that category, the overall literacy level for in Nigeria is 62%, and the overall literacy level in South Africa is 87%. And the last age group I've got here, these are the people 65 years and older. In Nigeria, we have male, 40.1% in that age group are literate. I mean, they're able to read and write. Disproportionately, we have female in that group, 17.6.
Wow.
70.6. So people 65 years and older, in terms of that literacy, the gap there between male and female of people in that age group is 22.5%. By comparison to South Africa, we have 59.9% male and 51.2% female. And the take home for me in terms of that is that differential employment and economic opportunities for male and female from that statistics. If you look at across the age groups in Nigeria, male are more in a better, that level of literacy compared across the age groups that we've discussed than female. And so it's not a surprise when we look at the employment and economic opportunities in Nigeria, we have more than female. And the last point I would like to make there is in regards to total expenditure on education as percentage of GDP, which is, pretty straightforward. Unfortunately, this is very disturbing. I look everywhere from World Bank to UNESCO. The available statistics, I don't want to believe this, but based on what I've searched, the available statistics on that particular total expenditure on education as percentage of GDP, the one that I found for Nigeria is a number from 1975.
What?
That's the most current number there, and they put it as 3.1%.
Only
3.1% in terms of that, the total expenditure as per percentage of GDP. I look everywhere, World Bank statistics and UNESCO, keep on getting this number from 1975. I struggle to believe, but that is what I found. By comparison, South Africa, on that same statistics, they've got, and this is from 2018, statistics from South Africa, they've got 6.2% in terms of total expenditure on education as percentage of GDP. So it's actually double Nigeria. So we've got 3.1, they've got 6.2%.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's quite concerning, isn't it?
Yeah, well, if just but maybe Prosper's got something to say to those numbers.
The fact that this day and age, when we go back to the education statistics around that, this day and age, we have women are still not where they should be.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I lived in South Africa for almost 6 years. Honestly, I'm quite surprised with this.
Okay.
My belief or what I saw with South Africa then, this just made it, made me feel like maybe I didn't really understand the system very well then, when I lived there. The fact that less Nigerians male and female are educated, then less than the South Africans is quite a surprise to me. And the other thing you said, if you can't find anything to do, any documents, any statistics, any information regarding the expenditure when it comes to education, except the one for 1970s.
Yeah, in terms of that category of total expenditure on education as percentage of GDP, I look around, and generally speaking, I prefer the one from international organizations like UNESCO, World Bank, and everything, because they provide more accurate information. Yeah. And and I look, and I couldn't believe my eyes. The most recent one that was quoted on those World Bank and UNESCO was data from 1975. I'll believe that someone somewhere forgot to update that. That is the only thing I can think of. I can't believe that we rely on data from 45 years ago.
Oh my goodness.
That's 45 years ago. And that put it as 3.1, as compared to South Africa on that same, the South Africa's number is from 2018, just 2 years ago. They put it at 6.2%.
Wow. Now, I think we'll just take it from here next Tuesday, the same time again. It's important for us to know our numbers, which is why what you're doing, Mr. Wale, is quite important. When we are talking, when we are discussing, we know what we are actually talking about. In terms of education, what can we do there? In terms of security, what can we do? But if we don't know our numbers, and we're talking about vision, we're still going to be lost without knowing those numbers.
Yeah.
And I just want this to be part of what we present. That guys, you're listening to this. This is what is going on. What are we going to do about it? So to round this up, I'll just get you, Prosper, and Wale to give us your last words today, and then we'll do this again next Tuesday. So, Prosper? Unmute.
Okay, sorry. These are my final words. Let me edit what I started. I said, every revolution, every change began with conversation. Okay, so we are on the right track. We are on the right path. As long as we keep discussing, the more people keep hearing it, and as time goes on, to begin to seek into the psychology of people. Gradually, we begin to understand that smallness is not the future, or the what we're experiencing is not the best of what we can experience. So this is what the conversation will help us to understand, that we are moving, we are progressing. We keep talking until we see the change we need to see. We keep talking, we keep acting until we begin to experience what we have discussed. So these are my final words. Don't stop talking about it. So it's okay.
Thank you.
Speak up.
Mr. Wale, your last words today.
Yeah, my sister. Yeah, look, my last word for today is that there was a lady called Rosa Parks. Rosa Parks in 1955 made a decision not to vacate her seats in the segregated bus in Montgomery, United States. That action led to civil rights movements that led to all the issues around giving Black people in the United States equal opportunities, like the white folks there. So we should continue with what we started with NSACs, just as a platform to bigger reforms. And I will leave us with the word from the great Martin Luther King Jr. when he said, "The time is always right to do what is right." So I will leave us on that. That we continue with our demands, and I'm sure that Nigeria of our dreams, the Nigeria we want, we achieve that in our lifetime. Thank you. Your moods.
All right. The time is always right to do what is right.
Right. Yep.
And that time is now, actually.
That is now. The time is now. We don't have time to waste. The time is now.
I want to actually appreciate you for coming on and for your time. We will do this again next Tuesday.
Okay.
All right. And I will send you some information before the end of this week, and we'll do a test run for you to do this when I'm not available.
No problem.
So we'll talk about it. Thank you once more. Enjoy the rest of the week. May God bless you. And for all that's watching us, thank you for being here today. And if you're watching the replay, thank you for listening to what we've been sharing. It's all about our motherland, Nigeria, and what is going on there right now. For anything to happen, we need to have a discussion about it. And our panelists, Mr. Wale Olaitan and Prosper and Mr. Sholola, they've been here, we've been discussing, and yes, it's going to bear fruit, isn't it? It will, when we don't give up. So we'll keep doing this, and we've been doing this for the last almost 8 weeks now, and we'll keep doing it. And it's in support of those people who are facing it right there in Nigeria, and for us all that we're in the diaspora to be able to get the real information, not the diluted one, the real information, and also to eventually probably come together with us to take it forward and start taking the steps that we should for us all to get the Nigeria that we want, because that is what we're all about. So until next Tuesday, you all take care. May God bless you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Okay, bye.
Yeah. Bye.